Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Brad.
What a humdinger of a week we have for you to make up for no podcast last week.
Yeah, look, we're back. Sorry, we had 2 weeks of like sort of weirdness. Both of us were very busy, but we're back. We will be back every week on normal schedule. All right, yeah, we're back. Like two children trapped in a divorce. We're looking to ourselves to figure out, are we to blame? The answer is no. No, it's not us. But maybe it's for the better. We'll find out. All right, so we've got plenty to talk about this week. Oh boy. So let's jump right into it. Jury in Georgia, this grand jury basically says, look, man, those indictments are coming down. The woman who is the sort of the, what do they call her? The
forewoman, the foreperson on the jury.
The foreperson on the jury. She's been making the rounds on national news, which I 100% disagree with, by the way. You should not be doing this. But she says, her name is Emily Kors. She says, in reference to the people who are going to be indicted, says, quote, "It is not a short list." And basically, like, it's you're not going to be shocked. It's not rocket science. Like, it's not going to be some giant plot twist. Basically, the people who you think are going to be there are going to be there, right? Mm-hmm. And she didn't allude to it being Trump or not. I just find this woman, and I don't know her. I don't know her political affiliations. It sounds like she's like pretty weirdly politically agnostic, which in this day and age, I find that to be strange as fuck. But
like, I don't believe you.
Yeah, I really don't. That sounds like a very untrustworthy person to me. But she seems a bit kooky, like, if I'm being honest. And you know, she seems to be a person who is like, oh, this is my 15 minutes. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the last area you want that to be your 15 minutes. In the middle of possible indictments of a president who has virulent psycho supporters, this is not the time to make yourself famous. Be like, hey, what do you think? I don't think anything. We'll let that get publicized. I don't want anything to do with the media.
Not only that, why would you want even people to know that you're on, like grand jury?
Nope.
You know, attendance is kept incredibly secret for good reason, because like these are people who are, you know, basically deciding whether or not indictments get handed out against a wide swath of people, like, you know,
and big names, big fucking
run of the mill shit doesn't always go before a fucking grand jury. Like, this is for the bigger cases that need, you know, you want to get all your T's crossed and your lowercase J's dotted before you before you go out there.
Such a great clip. Yeah, I don't understand why this woman, besides wanting to be like kind of famous, I guess, this is a bad idea. And that's not to say I think she's corrupt or like, you know, has some sort of ill like ideas or like trying to put it out there and do something illicit. I don't think any of that. I just think that you, as the foreperson of this very, very major case on a grand jury, you should shut the fuck up. Whether you agree with me or whether your indictments come down and they're things that I agree with, or the indictments come down in a way that I don't agree with, you're conservative, liberal, somewhere in the middle, politically agnostic, or deeply into this shit like we are, you should probably shut the fuck up and just let this be publicized when it gets publicized, and then that's it. That's my big thing. And again, I hold nothing against that woman personally. Again, I don't know what her political affiliations are. It's been reported that she's kind of politically agnostic. I don't know what rock you've been living under the last 10 years. I'd love to join you at some point. But I think you should shut the fuck up. Like, that's just my hard stance. Again, not knowing any of the information outside of that. Does this shock you, though? The talk of these indictments, does it shock you at all?
No, because as the old saying goes, you can indict a ham sandwich. Indictments are easy because they don't have the burden of proof and the burden of guilt beyond a reasonable doubt that convictions have. Like indictments just mean like, hey, like there's a reasonable case to be presented here that, you know, that charges can be brought. Obviously, considering that they're, you know, pondering indicting a former president, which has never happened before, you know, like that adds kind of a gravitas to the situation that didn't exist previously. And it is encouraging that, like, though Georgia is technically a blue state right this second, it's certainly no fucking, like, it's not fucking Maryland or, you know, some other, like, you know, like blue as shit state. Like, it's still fucking Georgia. Right. So for it to be, you know, for, you know, them, the jury to unanimously find that there was no evidence of voter fraud, which, you know, we fucking knew. But, you know, for them to actually go on the record and say that, and to, you know, for this woman to come out here and declare like, yeah, like there's going to be a long list of indictments being passed out because no shit, is encouraging. Like that much is encouraging as well. Again, will it lead to convictions? Who the fuck knows? Like the road to conviction is a much higher bar. I'm sure it'll lead to some convictions. Will it lead to the convictions of the people that we really want to get convicted? You know, will remains to be seen.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I don't think anybody should get ahead of themselves. I think it should be stay cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, let the process play out.
Right. Because I don't know. None of us do know. Look, let's have a little bit of fun here, though. Who do you think's on that list?
Oh, I would imagine that all the key players have at least one or two indictments that are going to be laid down against them. So, like, I do feel like that Trump is going to be on there. I don't think this woman would be making the rounds if Trump wasn't on the list. So I do think
it would look a little crazy. It was like, it's a bunch of low-level people, like,
right, and then your fame is over. Sorry. So I think you'll see Trump. I think maybe Mark Meadows, probably Mark Meadows. Like it's impossible for him not to be, you know, right there. Obviously Rudy. You know, Rudy's going to be on the fucking list.
100%.
Like, he's probably going to have some of the most indictments.
Yeah. You think Lindsey Graham makes that list?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think they brought him in more as a fact witness, and I'm sure he was very forthcoming in his testimony, because Lindsey Graham wants nothing to do with being indicted of you know, election fraud charges in fucking Georgia. So
yeah, there's part of me that really hopes he's there, because I love a good Lindsey Graham freak out. Like those are always good, because he's gonna flip out if he's on that list, and I'm here for that. Like, if nothing else, I am.
Can we please get our fucking credentials so that if he does get indicted, we can go down to DC and be like, hey, like is your BFF John McCain rolling in his grave now because you're such a fucking sycophant that you got indicted trying to stump for this dude that he fucking hated?
I was just asking questions. That's all I was doing, man. It ain't my fault. Come on now.
No, I don't think Lindsey Graham's gonna get.
Oh, I'm hoping.
I don't even think he's a target of their investigation. Like, I think they just wanted him to come down to be a witness.
Yeah, but I want it, Brad. I want it. I don't think that's too much to ask. That's what I want. But we'll see. I don't know that there's a timeline exactly when this is coming out, but I think it's sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So we shall see.
And this would be great, because, like I said, if they do charge him, I don't think that the Georgia district attorney or the Fulton County DA is going to be like, we don't want to interrupt the Republican primary or the general election season. Like, we need to full steam ahead, due process. Like, we need to be fair to this defendant to make sure he gets tried in a timely manner. So
let's knock this shit out today. let's get it done, boys. Like, hell yeah, man.
I would much rather them wait until, like, you know, like maybe October to February of next year.
That's fine. It works for me. Like, look, I'm not upset by any of this.
Can you please hold the primary debate in Georgia so that I can just come over from the courthouse afterwards?
They will not let me leave the state. If you could please do that for me. No. I'll be zooming in on the next few debates. Look, but
by the way, speaking of dipshit, and we're probably going to talk about him later because he's tangentially related to some other stories, and this has nothing to do with this story. I think he might have unleashed my favorite Ron DeSantis nickname.
Oh no,
which I thought was very funny, even though A, we're not for body shaming on this podcast, and B, the last dude who should be body shaming someone about being fat is Donald fucking Trump. But I gotta tell you, Meatball Ron, not bad.
Meatball Ron, I hadn't heard that. That's not bad.
Apparently, reportedly, like he's calling him that internally. Like he hasn't actually said it out there, but like
he's workshopping it. He's
workshopping it inside the group. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Yo, Meatball Ron is wild. I love that party just like gives no fucks about like just torching everyone. Like they just don't give a fuck. Like, whatever.
But someone else, like I saw someone on Twitter that brought up they're like the perfect nickname is sitting right there, and he's just not. He keeps trying to do this like Ron DeSanctimonious crap.
That doesn't work.
He's like it's right there. Wrong DeSantis. Like that's the fucking.
Oh
name.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Wrong DeSantis. Yeah.
Wrong DeSantis. Yeah. That you know what? As you say that's obvious. Like
yeah.
Oh my god, what an idiot. Yeah, like he is the master of shitty juvenile nicknames. Wrong DeSantis really does. It's right there. You know what? Yeah. Someone probably said that to him, and because he didn't come up with it, he's like, no,
right,
no. It's got to come from him, or he's got to steal it from some lesser known person, right? And then he was like, okay, that was my idea. Right?
Yeah, I invented that now. So
right. What was it? Prime the pump, right? Like he came up with that.
I invented that.
You did not. You did not. All right. Let's talk about it, Brad.
Oh boy.
Our parents are getting divorced.
Yeah, so we've talked about so this is not the first time Marjorie Taylor Greene has brought up the idea of a national divorce, right? We've talked about this on the show before.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
Well, and we talked about it because she's talking about it, but she's like she's really revving this up. Like this is going to be her fucking thing.
Right.
For a while now. And we don't need to rehash the stuff that we've talked about before on this show where like would we hate it if like we split into two countries, one red and one blue? No, like it would be fine because, you know, we could live in our fucking progressive utopia and, you know, their economy would collapse within 3 years and it would be hilarious to watch from afar. But logistically, making that happen would be damn near fucking impossible. It's just not possible. So Marjorie Taylor Greene's back on her bullshit. And then she like kind of elaborated on the plan, right? Because like this is going to be her thing, which by the way, people mentioned that, you know, the kind of weirdness of someone who's literally serving on the Homeland Security Committee.
Yeah.
Like being like advocating, you know, for a national divorce, but okay, fine. But she keeps saying this shit, and now she's going into greater detail. And as I said it to you and Andy,
brain don't work so good.
It is the Burger Kingification of fucking secession.
It really is. It really is. That's such a great.
I would like to have it my way, please. And
like
no other way.
But it doesn't work like that. You can't. So we're gonna read a couple quotes from her because they are incredible. Like it's incredible how stupid she is, but like she really doesn't understand the notion of what it like. She wants. I mean, quite literally, like you said, like it's this sort of Burger Kingification of secession, which is such a great turn of phrase. But like she wants to be able to separate the red and blue states as if everyone in the state all believe the same thing, which is very weird. Like that's not true, right? There are more Republicans in California than there are in quite literally every other state, including Texas. And there are more Democrats in any other state outside of California in Texas than anywhere else. How do you do that, Marge? Like, you can't just be like, we've just decreed Texas as being red. Like, because what are we going on? Voting? Representation in Congress? Because last time I checked, you live in a blue state. If that's it, like you have two Democratic senators. So, like, what's your argument?
I think we missed the part of the plan where they actually carve the top part of California out, and it becomes like Regania or something like that, a new state in the fucking land. So
yeah, like it's very weird. So she has this idea that there will be blue states, there'll be red states, and she's not talking about cutting up states. She's just saying like whole cloth, like chunk. This state is blue, chunk. This state is red, right? Texas,
but not only that,
red.
Not only that, we keep the federal government in place. Like the federal government still exists because she would want to keep all of the things that they like about the federal government, but they just wouldn't. But all the things they don't like, they would just be like, oh no, red states don't have to do that. It's like some fucking dumbass like ultra federalism that she's trying to do.
It makes no sense. Like I'm trying to find. I guess I closed that article. Like she talks about this whole idea of, well, the DOD will defend. The DOD will defend their. Oh, here we go. The DOD will defend like the border, and she says, okay. She says the federal government would have to maintain the Department of Defense, but it would need to return to its original purpose. The United States border and our national security would be the border the DOD would defend. The federal government would have to defend the states from invasion, not enable daily invasion. Okay. Dangerous international criminal organizations like Mexican cartels that are responsible for murdering Americans, trafficking in drugs and humans, and operating deadly gangs inside our country would be dealt with by the United States military.
That literally violates the Constitution.
Like that's not right. Like you can't. Right, like you can't have a standing army like operating inside the United States. Like have you never seen The Siege? A very good movie. Like that's not a thing that you can do. Right. That's illegal. Two, she says, and this is so bizarre. Republicans are so very weird. Of course, interstate trade, travel, and state relations would continue. However, in red states, they could have different rules about store product placement on national store shelves. In red states, I highly doubt Walmart could place sex toys next to children's toothbrushes. Okay, here's the thing. I am a Target guy. I shop at Target. Like, that's just my thing.
Sounds like you need to be going to Walmart, Jay.
Apparently, Walmart is fucking where it's at. But I've been to a Walmart, and I know, much like a Target, like, they have some sexual thing. You buy, like, condoms and shit like that. There's not sex toy. Well, maybe there's, like, like maybe some type of vibrators or whatever. They're not selling like 10-inch dildos, right? Like that's not a thing at fucking Target or Walmart, pretty sure, right? But that stuff's not in the kids section. Why are you saying that? Like I get it, you're trying to be hyperbolic, stuff like that. But for real, you have a lot of people who listen to you that are dumb and believe things that you say. Stop saying that. That's not true. There's no dildos next to the fucking kids' toothbrushes. It's simply not a thing. It's not a thing. Stop saying things like that. Your audience is dumber than you are. Like, please stop saying that. Like, it's fucking insane to me. Also, adults and children shop at Walmart. Okay. Like, adults buy things and children buy things.
No, what they'll do at Red State Walmart is they'll have like the black curtain that goes back to the back room. Like
oh yeah, like a
video stores back when we were
yeah. You're like, all right, dildo time. Keep the kids out there and get the toothbrushes, Martha. Like we go back behind the curtain. Like, so that's very weird. So, but let me read the real crux of this national divorce that she's talking about, because it's really dumber than you think, right? Like however dumb you think it is, it's somehow dumber than that. Quote, red state schools would bring back prayer in school and require every student to stand for the national anthem and Pledge of Allegiance, while blue states would likely eliminate the anthem and pledge altogether and replace them with anthems and pledges to identity ideologies. Just made up out of whole cloth. Made completely the fuck up. And she, by the way, she had started this whole tweet thread out with saying, everyone I talk to agrees with me about this. We need a national. All the people I talk to. You should probably talk to other people, right? Like, red states would bring back, prayer in school and require every student to do the national anthem. That's probably true. But you're just making up whole cloth what liberals would do. Like, do I think kids should pledge allegiance to the flag like it's fucking like it's Nazi Germany? No.
Yeah. Do I think we should be forced to stand for the national anthem before domestic sporting events? Yeah.
No.
Not at all. Because that's just propaganda anyway. But
Right. And look, here's the thing. If you want to have the national anthem in a school, I'm not mad at that. I just don't think, and I don't even have like a hard stance on like my own kid about it. Be like, you ain't going to that school praising that flag. Like, I don't have a hard stance on it. I'm kind of like, I'm pretty agnostic to the whole idea. I just think if my kid was like, that's a little weird, Dad. Like, why do we do that? And I'd be like, well, it's a bit of propaganda. If you want to do it,
jingoism. Here, I'm going to teach you a word today.
Yeah, like if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it, and I'll defend you. Like if they have a problem with it at school, okay. And if you want to do it, that's on.
Not to get off on a tangent, but that's why I think that it shouldn't exist. Because if a kid does make a choice that they don't want to do it, peer pressure is a hell of a fucking thing, and it's hard to be the only person in the classroom that's not doing that shit. So.
Right, and here's the thing: do you really want peer pressure in school to be a thing that you're teaching from the jump start? Right, like there's enough peer pressures that kids deal with from other students on things that are quite bad, drugs and things like that. Do you really want the Pledge of Allegiance? And I'm not saying it's like a gateway drug to drug use, but okay, I'm saying that. No, I'm kidding. But
just start calling the Pledge of Allegiance like a gateway ritual. So.
Yeah, it is. This is a gateway drug to heroin. This is a hard stance that I have. But like, do you really want to promote this idea of peer pressure against other students for things like that? I don't think that's a good idea. Do I think that is the main crux of not doing it? No, I don't think you should. I think, like you said, the idea of like promoting jingoism in school is a bit fucking weird. Like, it's just weird. It's unnecessary. Like, they're getting an education. Let them get an education. If they want to be like rah fucking America's awesome later in life after they're educated about the histories of this country and everything else, by all means. Guess what? When I go to a sporting event, I'm not standing up for the fucking Pledge of Allegiance or national anthem. I'm not. You want to fist fight over it at a baseball game?
At this point, I'll stand, but I don't hold my hand to my heart. I keep my hands down and I just fucking stand there for a minute.
I'll probably just go get a hot dog at the time. like a hot dog or a beer, like most Americans, you fucking hypocritical pieces of shit.
That's truly a real American reaction.
Yeah, because how dare you not say, oh, hold on, the beer line's low, bro. I'm going now. Like that's what people do.
The only song I'm standing for at the ball game is "Thank God I'm a Country Boy" during the seventh inning stretch. So.
God damn it, Brad. You're so very white. You're so very white.
I'm so very an Orioles fan.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Look. I have, ironically, more respect for that tradition than standing for the national anthem. I do. Look, this is just where we're from. What can you do? So she says that about the Pledge of Allegiance, which is very weird. Then she goes on to say, quote, red states would not have to abide by climate cult lies. Here we go. Red states.
To be fair, that's okay because California is saving all of our asses right now, and that most certainly would not be a red state.
No. Red states would be completely free to build and use fossil fuel energy for their citizens. Oil, natural gas, clean coal, and nuclear power would very likely be growing strong energy sources for red states.
We're still doing the clean coal thing.
Yeah, we're still lying about that.
Shout out to Donnie with that one. Oh
yeah, well, God. look, you just brush it off. You just brush it off. This is clean coal, baby.
You know who would not go for like shifting back hard into fossil fuels? The energy companies who can see the forest through the trees.
Yeah. Well, no, man. Look, but in the red states, they'll be different. They'll be different. Sure. Like GM will be like, okay, fine, no electric cars. And you know what? Red state citizens really love? Paying a lot for fucking gas. They love it.
That's right.
Good. Go right ahead, you dumb fucks. Red states would throw out all environmental social governance regulations and requirements on corporations and businesses. Companies would no longer have to meet ESG scoring measures or anything from hiring to work culture to products. Cool. So we're just going to hire all white people for the jobs that pay a lot, and we're going to hire all black and brown people and other people of color for the shit jobs. That's just basically what you just said. They don't have to worry about regulations and shit. They just do whatever they want.
Here's the other fun thing. So, like, let's just assume this fucking thing can happen, right? Let's assume this national divorce can happen. A lot of companies based in Texas, a lot of large companies, based in Florida, that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the grand problem with this strategy, though. People are like, oh, they're not going to move. Yeah, they don't have to. All the people that work for them, like, remote work is a thing now. Like, remote work is just a fucking thing. Like, you can easily just remote work, live in a blue state, work for the dumb fuck company, and then get income from the company that you're spending in the blue states, not in the red states where the company's based.
No, I agree with that, but I disagree on the early part of your premise, though. Disney not going to stay in Florida.
Oh, no.
They're done. No, if this happened, Disney World is done. Is done. You think they're going to stay in red-ass fucking Florida? One, the sea levels are rising there as it is. They're done. Cool. No problem. We got Disneyland in California. Guess what? We're going to move a bunch of resources to Disneyland, boost that shit up. And then we'll just build a Disney World somewhere else.
They would fucking call like Virginia or like upstate PA, and they'd be like, "Hey, can you just basically give us a county? Like, can you carve out a piece of land and let us govern it, and we'll bring Disney World to you?" And they'd be like, "Fucking sure, let's go."
Hell yeah, dude! You know how much money that is? Fuck yes.
How many jobs?
Disney World would be dead. And the one major reason to go to Florida for families is Disney World. And Universal Studios and all that shit. All of that's owned by Disney. Gone. It's gone. Like, you talk all that shit. Oh, maybe they'd move to Texas. No, they're not. You just ran an entire campaign about how woke they are and all that other shit.
Right.
Fuck you. Fuck you. See you at the movies, motherfucker. We're out. Like, we're done. So this very idea of like a national divorce, this is like the bullshit. She says better this than a civil war. No, we don't need to have a civil war. Just leave. Just leave.
Yeah. Because again, if this were to happen, we'd eventually have a civil war because you guys would be like, oh shit, we don't have any fucking money. What the hell?
Yeah. So just leave.
They've got all the money.
Right. And look, here's the reality. The thing I talked about earlier is absolutely true, which is you have too many people of mixed political ideologies and people who are in the middle, right? Not everybody is a Democrat or a Republican. That's stupid. That's a stupid thought process. But even if you're taking it in a hard black and white, blue, red perspective, there's too many people mixed up in all sorts of states. There's liberals in Montana. There's conservatives in California. There's conservatives in Maryland and stuff like that. There are. So this idea,
well, and that's the thing. Like for a state to be like, all you have to do is look at the presidential voting splits by state. Like for a state to be like a firm red state that's reliably going to vote for a Republican as president, it only needs to be like a 57-43 split. Like it's not like it's fucking 75-25.
Right.
Yeah. And even if it was 75-25, like again, that's literally a quarter of the people in your state that would be like, yeah, I'm not fucking down for this. I'm not okay with this. And vice versa. Like as these these blue states got more progressive, I would assume in this scenario where we can just do whatever the fuck we want. Like you'd have conservatives there that'd be like, yeah, I'm not okay with this.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with this.
And where you would have had more moderate behavior, you would have more and more political, what would be considered political extremism, right? Now that doesn't necessarily, I'm not equating like giving transgender people full rights as extremism, but in the minds of conservatives, the idea of them being treated as 100% equal citizens under the law, that would be considered extremism. Well, if you're a conservative living in a blue state, you'd be like, it's becoming too extreme, right? And so then otherwise, it would have been way more moderate. And maybe let's not use the trans issue, but like as far as like a financial thought process, right? A financial liberal process. if you're conservative in this state, it's going to get worse for you, not stay normalized and somewhere weirdly in the middle. It's going to get worse for you. And that's the same for a liberal in a conservative state. It doesn't make any sense.
And here's how you know she's a like a literal insane person, because she seems to think that if this were to happen, that Democratic voters would see how terrible living under this blue regime would be, that they would start fleeing the blue states and
hold
come
right
back
there.
to the red states. I know.
Because I have a clip of her talking about this. It is unreal. Like, it's unreal. But to that point, right? I heard something the other day that I thought was a phenomenal point. All the bullshit of like all these like right-wing Fox News people are like, oh, you know, Democrat states are the worst. It's awful. It's the worst. I can't believe it. All of them live in blue states. All of them do. All of them do. They live in.
That's how they know, Jay. That's how they know.
They're right on the cusp of it, Brett.
They're right there.
It's so bad we can't stop living in New York City. Really? Is it that bad? Where does Sean Hannity live? Right? He lives in New York, I assume. Right? Like, all of those big Fox News people, they all live in major cities, dude. They all live in California or New York
or
DC. They all do. So for all their bullshit about how terrible it is, you don't seem to want to leave. Oh, well, you know, Tucker Carlson, he's got another house in Montana. Yeah, that he visits. He don't fucking live there. He don't live there. So, like, knock that shit off, dude. All of the major OAN and all these other, they're all in blue states. All of them. They all broadcast out of major blue areas. They don't broadcast out of fucking shit kicker Kentucky. They don't. Why? You love it so much. Why don't you go there? That's right. You don't want to be there because ain't nothing there for you. I'm not saying there's nothing there. I'm saying for you, there's nothing there. But you will get on TV and tell people in those red states that somehow where they live is so much better, but you never fucking step foot in that place to live. Why is that? So look, you want a national divorce? Cool. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. What are we waiting on? I don't like this idea because it doesn't go far enough. As far as I'm concerned, it does not go far enough. You're trying to leave. You're trying to like, I want a divorce, but I also want you to pay alimony and like, you know, pay my rent and like, you know, make sure I'm doing okay. No, you left. Get the fuck out. Then you start your own government. We'll give you the land. Like, all right, fine. You dictate the states that you want and get the fuck out. I told you what my plan is. You give everybody 10 years. You give everybody 10 years. Hey, man, or you say 5 years. The government will, if you want to move to a blue state and you're in a red state, government for 5 years, the government will fit the bill. Right? We'll get you there. You know, we'll pay this amount, like for your house. Like, we'll give you a good percentage, not crazy, because like that's your fault. Like, you decided to live in fucking Montana, not us. Right? We'll try to help you out. Get you there the best we can, right? We'll subsidize your move, everything else. When that 5-year clock hits, boom, where you are is where you are. That's it. That's it. I'm even willing to give you 10 years, but like, that's it. And then you get real red states and real blue states. You can't just say, Georgia's a blue state, or now there's a bunch of Republicans who live there, or California, or, you know, Texas is a red state, there's a bunch of Democrats who live there. Give people time. You move, get the fuck out. We lock the door, right? It's like the purge. We sound the air horn or whatever. Midnight, everybody is where they are. And then that's a different fucking country. And I ain't no DOD defending anything. You fight the Mexican cartels. That's your fucking problem.
Figure out your own fucking army.
Yeah, you figure it the fuck out. Look, you're going to have people in the military who are like, I want to go to the red state military. Bye. Get the fuck out. See ya. See ya. Go ahead. Look, those guys are going to be the toughest ones. Sure, I don't know. I don't know that. And neither do you. I don't know that. Best of luck. If you want to do that, I'm willing to do that. Not any of this mealy-mouthed, half-ass bullshit. No. If you want to go, get the fuck out. Like, you're trying to run as somebody's VP for president right now when you're talking about maybe we should get a national divorce. Why don't you just leave? Just get the fuck out. If Trump chooses you, what is your argument? Hey, let me be vice president of a country I don't want to exist. Okay. Fucking weird.
Yeah, not very smart to be like, hey, like I'm trying to run in this race where I need the entire country to support me. Let me fucking alienate half these people that I fucking hate.
Yeah, you guys, with your dildos and children's toothbrushes.
Like I said, if he does pick her, like, poor strategic blunder, Donald Trump.
Look,
but you do my guy. So
yeah, like I kind of want it. I got to tell you, kind of want it. Now let me play that clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about. I'm just gonna let it roll. It's something else. She's on the Charlie Kirk podcast, I guess. By the way, this video is not edited at all by me. Charlie Kirk's face is literally that small on his giant head. That's not something I've done. There you go.
I don't think the left would ever stop. I don't think they'll ever stop trying to invade our states or our counties. So how do we stop them?
Well, I think that, red states could choose in how they allow people to vote in their states. For example, over the past couple of years, we've seen a mass exodus from California and New York, where we've seen people fleeing those leftist policies and moving to states like Florida, Georgia, Texas, states where they like the tax policies, they like the schools, they like the consequences of Republican and red policies. What I think would be something that some red states could propose is, well, okay, if Democrat voters choose to flee these blue states where they cannot tolerate the living conditions, they don't want their children taught these horrible things, and they really change their mind on the types of policies that they support, well, once they move to a red state, guess what? Maybe you don't get to vote for 5 years. You can live there, you can work there, but you don't get to bring your values that you basically created in the blue states you came from by voting for Democrat leaders and Democrat policies. But this would be up to red states to be able to choose to do something like that so that their red states don't get changed, which is what's happening, unfortunately, when Democrat voters leave their Democrat states and they take their Democrat votes with them. That would be something that these red states would have to really consider and choose to do. But I'm a big believer in freedom, Charlie, but I'm also a big believer in defending our ability to pursue life and liberty and happiness. And the left is completely destroying that for those of us on the right.
Okay.
So
wow.
Where do we begin?
The
voting will cease until the indoctrinations continue.
Yeah, that's basically it.
What that really is. Also, like, I'd be surprised that these theoretical red states would have voting, period. Honestly.
Yeah,
that's
a good point.
If I'm being frank about that, like, oh no, you're not going to get votes. We don't do elections here. We just fucking pick the next guy. Like, we have a panel of people, and what happens is that we had one election, and we elect this guy to be president, and then when he dies, his son will take over. This is a whole new concept that's never been done in history before. We're trying it out for the first time.
Speaking of Burger King, yeah. So her point are very weird, right? This idea of
I love how they think that the exodus, as she calls it, but the fact that a lot of folks have left California and New York in the last several years is due to how the states are run.
Thank you.
When it's really due to fucking skyrocketing housing costs because people actually want to live there, and they're moving to states where houses are dirt cheap because no one wants to fucking live there.
Exactly. Thank you. That's exactly the point I was going to make. Like in 2021, like California lost like 300,000 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like as far as the amount of people moving out of the state versus the amount of people moving in, overall that difference is about 300,000 leaving, right? So keep in mind, it was like they lost like 7 million people, but like 5.8 million people moved into California. Like it's not like
I gotta tell you, for people that champion marketplaces, they should really take the time to understand how they work at some point. Like it would be good to read a fucking book.
Nah, fuck that. It's all gut. It's all in the gut. That's gotta remember. It's all in the gut. So California did lose like 300,000 people, right? So it's not an insignificant amount of people. There's also like 39.5 million people who live in California.
It is for California.
Right,
It's
like,
a pretty insignificant amount for California. So.
Yeah, people are just like, oh, good. The highways are a little bit faster. Great. But to your point, people are leaving because it's so fucking expensive, because everyone wants to live there. And and the prices are insane. I used to live in California for a while. It's really fucking expensive. And you know what? It's still a really nice place to fucking live. People don't want to live in Wyoming, dude. Like, they don't. And I'm not trying to be a dick to people living in Wyoming, but people don't want to really live there, right? In comparison, they just simply don't. But people will move to those places. They will move to Texas and stuff like that because real estate is cheaper there. And it's cheaper because there are places that people don't want to live. People will move to places in Florida. They may not like the policies, the governmental policies of Florida, or, you know, certain parts of Florida, or the governmental policies of Texas, but they can buy a big ass Texas mansion, right, for a nickel and a half. There's a lot of people moving to fucking Georgia. Georgia is becoming blue, but Georgia also has some of the cheapest fucking real estate in the country. Like, it isn't because Georgia's so fucking amazing. It's because people are like, I need to buy a house. I need to have a place with some land to raise my kid.
For what I paid for my house here, I could literally double my square footage if I were to fucking go down to Georgia.
Yes, absolutely. And if you go a little bit further south, Brad, it's even better. Just saying. You just gotta keep going. Like, you hit the border, just keep going. Just keep going.
Like I said, if you find a town where the Walmart is the fucking center of it, then that's gonna be a cheap fucking place to live. I'll tell you. So.
Yeah, it is. So but like that's the thing, and this is the understanding of context and what is actually happening that the right generally either doesn't understand or just ignores. Like, do I think she understands it? Probably not. Do I think Charlie Kirk understands it? Absolutely. Do I think he will lie by omission? 100%. Because it is better for them to say to their audience to go, hey man, everybody's leaving California because it's so scary. No, dude, people really want to live there. And the prices have skyrocketed so much that people literally cannot afford to.
Yeah.
Right?
And
that's the
like
issue.
I said, remote, telecommuting is a thing now as far as work goes. It's a lot easier. So now you don't have to live where you work. You can live where you want and work where you want in a lot of cases.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know, man. Again, my point to Marjorie Taylor Greene is, if you want to do this, then get the entire fuck out. Don't half-ass it. Get the entire fuck out. And by the way, to your point, the only reason why you would stop people from voting for 5 years is to indoctrinate them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, but they want to come and live in a red state and they used to live in a blue state. Okay, why can't they vote though? Don't they share the same? According to you, if someone lives in a red state, they share all of your ideologies. If someone is moving from a blue state to a red state, I feel like they really share your ideology according to you, according to your logic. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be that they would be moving for any other reason, would it? No, surely not. Like, your thought processes don't even fall.
Doesn't make sense. The logic there doesn't make sense. Like, hey, like, I don't agree with how these blue states are being run, so I'm going to bring my blue state logic to the red state? Like, okay, I guess. Again,
they don't really think about the things that they say. They just say them because it sounds cool and hip and like catchy and shit like that. But like, if I'm moving, but according to her logic, I'm not using actual logic. I'm using Marjorie Taylor Greene logic. But according to her, anybody who would want to live in a red state has a shared conservative ideology. Well, if that were true, then why are you stopping them from voting? Are you afraid that like it's some Trojan horse situation of like a bunch of liberals moving to fucking Texas to eventually?
I truly think that they are, though. Is the thing? Like I truly think
weird,
that we literally be Trojan horsing them and being like, oh, we're gonna sneak in, and then all of a sudden prop up our Democrat politicians to run and turn the state into a Democrat paradise again. I'm just like.
And then rejoin the rest of the union?
Honestly, that seems exhausting, and I don't think we're going to be alive that long. So, I'm just not worried about it. But again, there's a real easy way to solve that. Just don't do elections.
Yeah, just a monarchy. It's fine.
Yeah,
fucking Trump stakes monarchy. Just go.
Yeah,
for
like,
it.
no, you can have a parliament. Like you can have like a House of Commons. They can even call it that if they want to. The Common House.
It would be it'd be the common house.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of common ass motherfuckers making.
They can
rules.
they can have their sessions at a Waffle House down there. It'll be great.
Why not? Good Lord. Next up, Kevin McCarthy, MAGA idiot in charge of the House.
Known sycophant.
Known sycophant, Kevin McCarthy, offers his first sacrifice to the MAGA cult. So he decided this week that he would hand over January 6th footage exclusively to Tucker Carlson, not to anybody else, not to any other news stations, not make this public. All this shit that we haven't seen, still stuff we haven't seen, he's going to hand that over to Tucker Carlson. Because never forget that the Republican Party still makes this bullshit notion that Fox News isn't in their pocket or vice versa, right? Like they're just two separate entities not working together. They just happen to agree on every single point always. But it's interesting, right? Because what ended up happening is during the Dominion voting machines defamation case, like during the discovery, they fucked up. Fox News fucked up because they found out that the Fox News people were like, yo, none of this election stuff is real. It's all bullshit. Like they're saying it in emails. Like Sidney Powell's a quote, Sidney Powell is, quote, a fucking bitch, according to Tucker Carlson. The emails from Fox News top brass and stars, including Rupert Murdoch, Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, and Tucker Carlson, provided evidence that they were aware that the election had not been stolen, but were afraid of losing their audience and continued to spread Trump's false claims. So they knew that what they were saying was bullshit, which, by the way, what a perfect bit of discovery for Dominion. You knew, and then you still went on TV and lied about us? Cool. Thanks for admitting your fucking crime in an email, you dumb fucks. I love it.
Or a text message.
Right.
Oh, gotta love that. Imagine being so scared of networks that aren't even picked up by half the cable providers across the country. That shit's hilarious to me.
Yeah,
because that's what they were scared of. They were scared of losing their audience to like OAN and Newsmax because they weren't extreme enough to hang on to these loonies that they created.
That's crazy to me.
So they're like, we got to buy into some bullshit.
Yeah, but and it's ironic, right? Because while that's happening, while that definitely is not going to happen, OAN I think just got dropped by like a major. Like we talked about
by like DirecTV.
Yeah, they were like, "No, we're not carrying that shit anymore," because we told them to pay more money, and they were like, "No,
this is a First Amendment violation."
It's like, no, this is a licensing issue, my guy. Just give us money. We'll put your garbage on the air. Just give us
no.
That
was the problem. Is the OAN wanted more money from DirecTV.
Oh, right, they wanted more money from DirecTV.
Cable companies pay the channels for the content, and they're like, "Oh, we want more money," and DirecTV's like, "Go fuck yourself." Like,
yo, there's 9 people watching your bullshit show.
Yeah.
No. This is a license.
We have the ratings. Like we know.
Yeah, we know there's 9 of you. Like it's fine. Yeah. Nobody cares. But ironically, while this is all happening, I forget the guy's name who bought CNN now. He's like a hardcore Trump supporter. He's a billionaire or whatever, some D-bag. He is converting CNN into. He's trying to model it after Fox. Like he said that. Like in interviews, he said that. Trump has been coming out lately saying that CNN is his channel now. I cannot wait to and saying that Fox News is not loyal and fuck Fox News. They're too liberal. Fox News is liberal. Fucking hilarious. I can't wait to watch the moment of MAGA idiots chanting about how they prefer CNN now over Fox News during the 2024 election. That is going to be a wonderful thing to watch because their ideology means nothing. It's just however they're led around by their fucking master. They just go, oh, CNN's bad, it's bad. CNN good, CNN good. They never think about this shit. They never think about it. They're just walked around like fucking dogs on a leash. It's amazing to me. Absolutely amazing.
Is it that amazing to you? It's a tale as old as time.
Yeah, well, they're dumb. I mean, yeah, they're dumb. Like, they're just stupid. After revelations about Fox News, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy announced that he would give 41,000 hours of Capitol surveillance footage from the January 6th insurrection to Tucker Carlson, despite concerns that this could compromise ongoing criminal trials. That should not be allowed. Like, full stop, that should not be allowed. By the way, it shouldn't be allowed to be given while those trials are going on to anyone. I don't care if it was to MSNBC or Democracy Now! That shit shouldn't be given to them, because if that is released in a way or painted in a way that is false, that could fuck with these trials, like the article says. Mm-hmm. So
isn't that kind of the fucking point?
Absolutely, it is. That's why Kevin McCarthy is doing it, of course. No, I'm not a fan of this move. Again, this is a classic capitulation from McCarthy, as he is dying to get the approval of fucking MAGA folks. This is his first ballot dickhead move. So congratulations, I guess. Mm-hmm. We're off to the races.
I mean, and again, the problem is, like, most people who are intelligent will, I mean, this isn't for the intelligent folks, this is for the idiots, but most people who are intelligent will, understand, like, hey, we have eyewitness testimony, we have people who were there, we have their words, the stories are consistent, like, we've already seen a lot of footage that's been released. We saw Josh Hawley, running scared across the Capitol Mall. We saw the fucking, the one Capitol Police officer, like, literally save Mitt Romney's fucking life. In those videos and shit like that. Like, we've seen it, and people were there that are still in Congress that can still talk about this shit.
Right. Like, this isn't 75 years ago, dude. Like, this was literally a few years ago. Okay, let's talk about the train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. By the way, is it a little weird if you live in one of those towns and, like, you also, like, hate the Middle East? Like,
I think it's pronounced Palestine. In Ohio, I think it is. I've heard it.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's pronounced the opposite of what it really is. Get the fuck out of here. No, I just think it's weird. Like, I hate the Middle East. Like, you live in, like, you don't feel away when you, like, wake up and tell people where you are. All right, okay, cool. I just wonder about those kind of things. Like how do you square that circle? So the train derailment.
Jay. That's how the circle is squared, is with racism. So
that's how the circle is made. Train derailment in Ohio. This is not a light topic. It's not an unserious topic. But it is being taken very. It's being handled very unserious by the right, and what I mean by that is they are, ironically, the party who does not like to politicize school shootings of children. Mm-hmm. Can't wait to politicize a train derailment that is literally their fault. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the shit that amazes me. So, an Obama administration rule that would require new brakes to reduce the risk of oil train derailments, causing explosions and spilling gas, was reversed by Trump. That is a headline, or actually the headline is Trump rolls back train braking rule meant to keep oil tankers from exploding near communities. That's the headline. That was written by Glenn Fleischman for Fortune magazine, September 24th, 2018. Right? The train that crashed in Ohio literally had what they refer to as Civil War era brakes, right? They were supposed to be switched to these electronic brakes that were far better. Trump was like, nah, fuck that. Regulations, right? You got to get rid of two to keep one bullshit, arbitrary rule that he came up with. And so they tossed it. He tweeted out that on 8/3/2017, quote, I am continuing to get rid of costly and unnecessary regulations. Much work left to do, but effect will be great. Business and jobs will grow.
It sure was great.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
that's I bring that up only to do what the internet does best, which is the infamous dish you. Like, you did this. This is a direct reflection of a policy that you got rid of for no fucking reason, but just to be petty. You cost this community whatever disaster happens, whatever long-term issues that happen. I don't know. No one knows right now. They've got like 6 departments for the federal government that are working on it. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be like, this is like when you threw the oil on the penguins and fucking, in Valdez, right? I don't know. It doesn't seem good, right? I'm not going to be pretending like the people on the left. Some people on the left are like, well, you don't know, so maybe it's not that bad. No, you don't know, and people seem to be having issues.
I mean, when the disaster happened, like, they literally had to evacuate the entire town.
Right.
Because it was too dangerous to literally be within exposure distance of the chemical that they were doing a controlled burn off on when the train derailed.
Right. So I think you have to take that serious. And I think the people there who are dealing with this are taking it serious, right? Like, they are legitimately concerned. But again, for a party that doesn't want to politicize school shootings, they want to jump right into politicizing this. But again, this isn't a thing that happened because of Democrats and Democratic policies. This is a thing that literally Republicans killed just because. It wasn't just because. It was for the benefit of the rail companies, because the rail companies don't want to have to fucking invest money and research and development into new braking systems. That would be very expensive. They'd much rather pay that money out to their fucking shareholders. Like, that's really what it boils down to at the end of the day. But that's also Republican tentative. Fucking let businesses do whatever we want. Like, their anti-regulatory stance isn't because they don't like regulations. It's because it costs money in the private sector that they rely on to get elected to Congress. Like, that's really what it boils down to at the end of the day. Right.
But this is the end result. Like when you reduce regulations around safety, around protection, like, you invite disasters like this to happen. And one of the things that I saw that kind of pissed me off, and like, my thought was like, oh, this is not the way, is one of the things like Pete Buttigieg said around this when, I can't remember where he was being interviewed, but he mentioned like, well, thousands of trains derail every year. Like this is just a really, tragic incident of it happening because of, the substance that the train was carrying. But there's train derailments all the time. That's not okay either. Just because it usually works out all right, 99 times out of 100, doesn't mean that we should just be okay with fucking train derailments happening on a constant basis.
Right. And look, I got to tell you, I don't think it is a good look. And I'm actually shocked. I don't think it's a good look that Biden didn't go. I actually don't agree with that. Like, he should have been there. Like, even if you aren't standing, like, I understand not standing on the rubble, right? Like, I get that. Like, we will fight them. Like, you don't have to do that, right? It's a dangerous situation, but you got to go there. You got to go there. You got to be like, listen, man, you got to hit him with the Lyndon Johnson, like, who is that in the dark? It's Lyndon. It's Joe Biden, and I'm your president. I'm here to help, right? Like, holy shit, what are you doing here, right? If you don't know that story, you should look it up. It's amazing. But I'm surprised Biden, who I think is a pretty, like, compassionate guy when it comes to tragedies for obvious reasons, because of shit in his life. I'm surprised that he wasn't on that. And I think that's a fuck up on his part. Like, I really do. I don't know what the reasoning was. I don't agree with, like, the right wing thing of like, oh, well, he went to Ukraine and so he's abandoning Americans. I'm like, yo, he's a president. Like, there's mad priorities all over the world. However, I would have gone to Ohio first. I don't think it's about abandonment. I think it's like, there's a war going on and we're having a proxy war with Russia. That's not a small thing. It's not that you necessarily care more about that or whatever. That's not how the presidency works. You have to care about every emergency almost equally, as crazy as that sounds. But I do think from a political standpoint, I would have gone. I think you gave them space to hit you on something where you didn't need to. And I think you could have come up and like, hey man, like I would have gone down there if I was Biden. I would have gone down there, console people, whatever, gave them the fucking Joe Biden hug. Fucking old people love that shit, right? Do all of that. But then once that kind of smoke cleared where they started feeling good about like somebody giving a fuck about them from DC, then I would have pivoted and I'd have hit fucking Republicans hard as shit. I'd have been like, listen, we wouldn't be in this fucking situation if you assholes hadn't done what you did in 2018. And Donald Trump announced that he wants to run for president. You want more of this shit? Like that's where you get that sort of that outrage. You can have that outrage for the safety of people and use it as a battering ram. Because if you nail that up early in a debate, if Trump wins the nomination, you can be like, yeah, remember what I said about that train derailment when that happened in Ohio? I still believe that, and let me bring it up again, right? In case you forgot. But now he's got a space. He's given Republicans a space because he let Trump get there before him. And he's given Trump space to be like, he doesn't really give a fuck about you. Never mind my policies and shit. That was a mistake on his part. It was.
I understand the need for the performative aspects of the job. I would really look at this as an opportunity to fucking nail companies. I don't remember the name of the rail company, but I would look at this as an opportunity to nail these fucking companies that allow this shit to happen to the fucking cross. Yeah. Like, fine. Like, you don't want us to fucking regulate you. That's cool. We're going to have the SEC fucking tamp down on you and prevent you from being able to pay out dividends to your shareholders because all that money needs to go to these fucking families now and needs to go towards fixing your fucking infrastructure. That's what I would actually like to see. I think that would be a lot more effective. I'm fine with that as well. Yeah, stop letting these corporations get away with causing disasters because of negligence. Right. So, like I said, I get where you're coming from. I'm feeling much more vindictive towards the rail company at this point, and that's where I'd like to focus my energy. So.
Look, here's my thought on that. Why not both? I'm a huge fan of being vindictive. That's totally fine. But I do think if you're going to play the role of the president, sometimes you got to do the performative shit. Mm-hmm. Like you just do. As silly as that may be, sometimes you do. And I think it's a.
Did you see the rail company's initial offer to help? No. They're like, we feel really bad that this happened, so we're going to pay this town of 6,000 people $25,000 to help with having to relocate.
Wow.
to having to literally abandon the town for several days. Like, we're going to give you each $5. Like, here, go buy a Big Mac.
$25,000.
Yes, a company that's worth
billions,
hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah,
come on, dude. That's insulting.
Here's 25 G's.
That's insulting. Like, come on, man. Like,
incredibly. And again, that's why I'm feeling vindictive against the fucking rail company.
Yeah, look.
They're out here like, yeah, like we fucked up. Here's a nickel.
I love it. Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.